Hello, magic makers, and welcome to December. Can you believe it? 2022 is coming to its completion. I'm Lisa McCardle of Inner Wisdom Awakening, and this is your December energy forecast. Be sure to stick around to the end, where you will find the 4 frequencies that you need to optimize this month's potent energy that's coming through. And be sure to like, subscribe, and share because it helps get the messages out to the world. So December will not disappoint, as no months seem to disappoint in this new frequency of which we are traveling through. So December is a 12 month, but it is a 9 universal month. So the themes that move through this month are very congruent through the numerology, astrology, the vibration, just the completion. It's a completion cycle. And 9 is the number of completion. So isn't it interesting that it arrives on this final month of the year? So it's really truly time to wrap up 2022, and it's a really important time to utilize, especially in the first half of this month, of what is complete. It's been a theme moving forth for most of the year, but what is complete for you? It's time to unbury your head, like get your head out of the sand. What you know is complete must be released, harmonized, let go of, transmuted. Like you can't deny any longer because it's not going to serve you, and it is not going to usher you into the 2023 frequency, which is a really powerful frequency. So let's dive right into it. So it's really time to tie up any loose ends, anything like end of year is always a good time for tying up the loose ends and completing, the projects and the things. And what you really want to do this month is make space and be intentional about who it is you're willing to become and what it is you're willing to create, receive, know, understand, proclaim, and experience in 2023. These next 2 years are very powerful years, moving through so much distortion, disruption, deconstruction, so much over the last 2 years. It's kind of like the catapult to what has all of this been for, and what 2023 and 2024 are going to bring us is the clarity of what all of this deconstruction was for, starting to move in the new direction. So this is your wrap up time. It's wrap up, it's go time. So clear as much space as is possible on your physical plane, emotional plane, on the inside and the outside. It's like clean up your space, tie up the loose ends, let go what needs to be let go of, or let it be. If it is complete, it is done. It is done. And this is your opportunity to really finalize that. So you're free, clear, like a prepped, beautiful blank canvas ready for the new in 2023. So part of the 12 that's really important is that, we're going to move into the 12-12 portal, and all of these number portals hold frequency from a numerical perspective, right? So I perceive that we start a new frequency when the 8-8 Lionsgate portal opens up in August. And it becomes, we move through the 9-9, which is more of a completion cycle, and we move into the 10-10, which is the new beginning, and the 11-11, which brings us to the mastery. And the 12-12 is kind of like the completion of that. 12 is the completion number as well, but it also brings in the power of the 1, standing in balance, unity, and harmony with the 2. It brings us into leadership, yet collaboration. So it's the culmination. The 12 becomes a culmination, the completion culmination, but the prep for what is to come. It's both the letting go and the creation of the new. So it's a bookend in many ways from the 8-8 to the 12-12. So we're closing those gates, and it's like, who are you becoming through all of that you've been through, especially over the last 4 months? Also, it brings in a lot of the codes of creativity, because the 12, the 1 and the 2 becomes the 3, and the 3 is the holy trine, the sacred union of self, higher self to source itself. And it also becomes the expression of creativity. And so it's an optimal time to really pay attention. And the 12 brings about leadership and collaboration. It brings about balance, and then it's mirrored to itself, right? So we have the 12-12 portal. Whenever numbers are mirrored to themselves, their frequency exponentially, it expands exponentially so that it can shine more brightly, just like you. Okay, and so it also, from a number play sequence, it also brings us to the 1221, which we'll get to when we get to some of the astrology, but then the 12 becomes the mirror and the reverse of itself. So there's a lot of cosmic number play happening, as there is in most months. What happens with the 12 is the 12 is kind of the learning. It's the learning to empower. It's the learning into leadership. It's the inquiry. It's the becoming. And 21 is actually the understood, the embodied. It's this space between embracing and embodying. And so that's what the 12 to the 21 brings us. So it's a potent time. It's a potent time. So let's move into the astrology. December 7th, you will have a full moon in Gemini. It's a really good time. You know, full moons can be so activating. And then we have this Gemini expression, which is exciting, but can also move you in several different directions. Really important because we're entering, or we're in the middle of holiday season, you're getting ready for Christmas, all of those things. Full moons can just expand everything, and it's really important to set your stress levels for who and how you're going to optimize yourself over the end of this year, including through the holidays. So it's a really good time the desire is going to be out, to be chatty. It's really the shadow of this full moon is to watch out for gossip or talk, especially because Mars is still retrograde. And so all of that becomes amplified. It is none of your business what anyone else is doing. It is not your story to tell, nor is it any of your business what anyone else thinks about you. So it's really about not attaching to anything externally. The desire is going to be there, especially with this Gemini energy and the full moon and the Mars retrograde. But the opportunity is to stay in your inner plane. What is true? What do I know? What is for me? What is mine? And that is the space of which you are to dwell. It will harmonize. It will create greater joy and greater fluidity to move you through the end of the year and the holiday season. Be very conscious, clear, and harmony will prevail. That was the message coming through. On 12/21, we have the sun entering Capricorn. We move into Capricorn season. It's kind of getting you ready to get up and get going. That's what that energy of Capricorn brings. It's like this completion in the first beginning, and then we're going to be moving into shifting the awareness to like, what are you creating? Capricorn is going to give you that energy, that optimization to get moving, to get momentum in the new year. We also are greeted that day with the winter solstice. So the winter solstice is the longest night of the year. It's where we really optimize through the darkness, and we're also bringing in the light. Days start to get lighter each day after. So we're welcoming back the light, but we're also sitting in the depth of the darkness and welcoming in winter. And winter is the time to come in, to get clear. It gives you more completion, right? This completion keeps harmonizing through the entire month. It's more 12 energy. And then it's mirrored to itself, the 12 and the 21, right? So the 12/12 portal opens another doorway actually for your experience, your expression, your inner reflection. And then that kind of culminates to the 12/21 as well. It's a great time to plant your seeds of desire, your intentions, which will be made manifest and begin their growth in the spring and their bounty in the summer. So utilize the winter solstice, be intentional, come to the inner plane, enjoy the frequency of Capricorn as it unites with it, and let's get ready to go. The closing and the opening, right? They're two of the same. Like closing can be scary, completion can be like, oh, but it is the necessary catalyst for the opening and the rebirth. So then on 12/23, we have the new moon in Capricorn, and this really optimizes the fresh start. It gets you really ready for the new year. It brings in that new moons are always, it's the reset, it's the restart. It's the new moon is the beginning of the next lunar cycle. And it also, just being days, being in that window of winter solstice, it's really potent. So be sure to spend some time that day in the new moon energy, really setting intentions of what is to come, perhaps gearing up for your 2023 focus, your vision, your intention. Who are you willing to become? What are you willing to experience? How are you willing to serve? Always the best question. So we also have an astrological experience on Friday, December 23rd. The same day that we experience the new moon in Capricorn is that Chiron, which is considered to be the wounded healer astrologically, ends a retrograde cycle that began in July. So it is a really potent day, because what the retrograde of Chiron being in retrograde for these months has been, it's been the review for you to really see where your pain body lies, for your traumas, for your griefs. It's been a lot of review, a lot of sitting with and grieving through whatever has been lost or whatever lingers as far as pain, resentment, and any traumas that you've experienced. So it's kind of the clearing. And then when it goes direct, as it will be on that day, you get to like really palpably shift your awareness from like what trauma, pain, grief experience you've had to where you're moving and what is becoming, right? So all of that trauma, grief, pain, portal, all that stuff, as yucky as it can be, is Spirit wants to say right now, it is a necessary catalyst from the 3D lens of understanding for you to catapult forth. Because from 3D lens, we still learn through contrast and pain. And so every time we go through these cycles of reviewing and releasing, we are optimizing and elevating ourselves more into higher frequency. We're bringing ourselves closer to our fifth dimensional experience, which reminds us that we are connected, wholly, and unified with all things, and we do not need to suffer to get there. Amen. A little channel for you there in the middle of it all. So your 4 frequencies that you must optimize in order to become and ride through the gifts of this 12-month. Number 1 is surrender. Obviously, the theme that's moving through is completion. Completion, completion, completion. The sequences are all about completion. But to optimize that completion, you have to surrender it. You got to hand it over. You got to let it go. You got to let it be. And it's not always easy. So hand it over. Everything supports this, with the 9, with the 12, with the final month of the year, with the solstice. It's all supporting you to let it go. Just surrender, to find the sweet of the surrender and the peace that prevails on the other side of that. Number 2 is freedom. Through that lens of surrender and letting go, you come to a phenomenal sense of freedom. When you are in the expression of non-attachment, your vibration is one of freedom. And when you are in a free well, it's where all the opportunities come, right? It's where all that is new and all that wants to naturally magnetize to you has room to move in. That is freedom. And it's time. There is so much coming in 2023. Astrologically, fresh new starts. There's so much gearing up to make 2023 a true pivot point for you and for the consciousness of humanity. It's about to burst. So energy can only build like this, contract for so long until it has to explode or implode. And in that is where freedom is experienced. Number 3 is light. We're welcoming back the light through the solstice. You are an embodiment of pure light in human form. Focus on the light. Be light. Become light. Optimize your light. Sit with the light. Allow the true essence of who you are as a light being, a light worker, a lighthouse. Let it be. Optimize it. Focus on it in all the ways. And number 4 is intention. And yes, there's always New Year's intentions, all that thing. And yes, it's part of it. It's like you're having this closed cycle. What is your intention? What is your word for 2023? Be very mindful. I chose freedom one year in my whole life when So be very mindful of what you're creating. Not that that was bad. It was just very intense. So what is your word for this year? What is your intention? Who are you willing to become? Get crystal clear through the light of the full moon and the beginning of the new moon through the solstice. Cast your spell. Abracadabra. Your word is your wand. Proclaim it within your heart, whisper it through the song of your heart, write it down, speak it out loud, share it with friends, share it on social media, proclaim it, become it, allow for it, and know that it is your time to rise and shine. Yeah, sending so much love to your light. Let December be the miracle that it is intended to be, and allow it to usher you into the new, present, focused, clear, with intention, with light, with freedom, and with your optimized surrender. I love you. Thank you. Be blessed and always.